If you feel like, oh, a man will never love me the way I am, you're going to allow a lot more things in your life that are negative and destroying, destructive. And I've been through this. How do you show yourself that you love yourself? How do you show yourself self-love? Healing. We go through some of the most weirdest, traumatic, unnecessary, like, a lot of us are used to chaos. So sometimes to the naked eye, you're like, what is wrong? Why would you want to stay there? It's very comfortable when you know that everything's going to be chaotic. It's scarier to think, what is peace? What is this quietness I hear? Like, what is this calmness? I don't like it. I need craziness. I need this. And I used to be on my Hey y'all, it's your girl Zy, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But if you're returning, welcome back. And as you've seen by the title, we're doing 24 things that I learned in 24 years, and I truly believe that this is going to be some good ass life advice. Like, out of all my videos, really highly recommend that you watch this one fully. I don't know how long it's going to be, but when I tell you this is probably the best one that I'm going to make as of right now, and you know, moving forward, I feel like each one will progressively get better. But this is the first time where I am thinking the most clear. I am healing. I am just completely different than my last one I think I made, or just in general as a human being. Like, I feel so different, and the things I'm going to say, I really believe if you listen and really take it in, change your life. Like, my life is changing, and it's only been less than a year since I really got in real hard on this journey. And I really, I don't know, I feel like I don't know how to express it, but I really hope that you watch this video thoroughly. Send it to someone who is struggling with life, because as someone who has anxiety, been through depression, well, whoa, I'm trying not to claim those things as much. So someone who has dealt with depression, dealt with anxiety, is currently fighting those things. The other things that I've been through in my life, I really hope that this video helps you, and I feel like it will. If you give me the chance, I do ramble a little bit, but the points are all gonna be there. And then to give, like, you know, real truth, it's more than 24. So I'm gonna really try not to spend too much time on each one, but I had so many things I could not stop writing things down. But if you don't know me, my name is Zy. I started a Black Girl Introvert's Diaries series on my channel. I am an introvert, and it's a long story, but if you want to watch, we up to episode like 29 by now, so be sure to check out that series. I post every Sunday and Wednesday, and I am currently 23 recording this. But tomorrow, September 26th, I'll be 24, and I was getting a little emotional. There's a long story. You gotta tune into the vlog to know what's going on. But I was getting emotional while getting ready, because I'm just like, how am I 24? Like, I don't want to get emotional and get mess up my lashes. So I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna try to breathe, and we're gonna get started, okay? Because it's a long intro. Hopefully the stitch doesn't creep y'all out. He's always on my bed. So the first one I wrote down, I'm going to be reading them off a list. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my phone, because I told you I went in. You deserve to be loved in a healthy manner, no matter what others have told you or made you believe. So where I got this concept was the fact that when we grow up, a lot of the times, majority of us are not growing up with the most healthiest representations of love, or how we should be loved. So what this is called is a limited belief, and this is something you have to work to debunk what you have been told to believe, which is limited, meaning it's very low vibrational. So if you feel like, oh, a man will never love me the way I am, you're going to allow a lot more things in your life that are negative and destroying, destructive. And I've been through this, and everything that I'm talking about, I've been through. That's why I said this has been a very transformative year for me, a very hard year, a very scary year, but a very blessed year, because I'm able to share these things that I've literally learned within the last year that have transformed my life and my way of thinking, as someone who was constantly having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, depressed, all these things for a majority of my life. And this is the first time where I'm feeling like I could breathe, like literally feeling like I can think straight, I can think clearly. I don't have to think the most negative things about myself. I still do sometimes, but it's nowhere close to where I've been at starting like this, especially like starting this channel alone. Healing is hard, but it's worth it. Letting go is hard, but worth it. Healing is one of the most painful yet powerful things you can do to show yourself how much you love you. A lot of the times we're always asking the question, oh, how do you show yourself that you love yourself? How do you show yourself self-love? Healing. Because there's an inner child within you that we all have been at some point in our lives that is in pain, hurting, crying, lashing out, and we keep ignoring them. It's only going to show up in your adult life. It's going to show up in your relationships. It's going to show up in your job, because there's a little girl or a little boy running the show. And I feel like healing yourself, which is healing that inner child, which I like to think of as my baby. So if you have a little sister, a little brother, or kids, imagine looking at your kids and telling them to be quiet, go in the corner, because they're sad. That's how I've started looking at it when it comes to healing myself. She's sad, okay? Don't want to cry, okay? She's hurt. Why? Because in this life, we go through some of the weirdest, oh my God, I can't cry. We go through some of the most weirdest, traumatic, unnecessary, like, what's the right word? Sometimes unbearable things. Sometimes people do things that'll hurt you. Sometimes family hurts you. Sometimes friends hurt you. Sometimes partners hurt you. And we just internalize those things. We literally just punish ourselves for those things, and it's not your fault, anything you've been through. People are lashing out. People are treating you away because that's how they feel about themselves. And to get back to the topic of just healing your inner child, healing that little girl or little boy inside of you is one of the best things you can do for yourself, because you can finally move on and let go of negative, traumatizing, scary emotions that are pulling you in the wrong direction of life. I really am not trying to cry. So 3 is it's okay to change and give yourself everything you desire. You don't have to feel like you can't because of others around you. Isolation may be necessary. Like I said, all my life, okay? All my life, I felt like I just want to take everybody with me. Like, come on, guys, we could all be great. We could all be, like, on top of the world, rich, like, doing what we want to do. Everybody doesn't want to. Or let me put it like this. Everybody is not at the state of mind where they are able to accept that it's possible for them. And I've had this hard, like, it was very hard for me to let go of a lot of people, because I felt like I was letting them, like, drown or letting them down and, like, giving up on them. But in the process, I was hurting myself more than I ever could imagine. Like, the healing that I have to do is so intensive, mainly because I'm very empathetic, empath. I had no boundaries over my feelings and emotions, and I was just a fix-it. What they say? What they call it? Fix it Barbara. They be saying something funny. But, like, based on how I grew up, like, I felt like, oh, if I help somebody, I have value in myself. Like, if I help somebody, they'll love me. If I help somebody, if I do everything to get them to get their life together, they'll adore me, they'll this. No. Okay? Do that for yourself first, and be just inspirational, motivational, and let them do it themselves. Actually, that's exactly what you need to do. Allow them to go on that journey by themselves, because if you try to force somebody to do something, imagine when your parents tell you to do something, you don't want to do it no more, okay? You got to allow them to do it, and it is going to feel crippling to let go. It is going to feel horrible to walk away from people, but everyone, when you get to, like, adult life, it is, like, you have to do things for yourself. We're all going through the same things, grown with bills or responsibilities. You can definitely be there to support someone, but do not do everything for someone, and don't put yourself on the line just to help someone who doesn't even want what you want for them. 4 is not everyone will change, and that's okay. Act accordingly. People's closeness to you can change. And with this, is kind of going into the last thing I said. A lot of people don't want to change because it's hard, it's painful, it's scary. During this process, I am going through it, okay? Every time I have therapy once a week, every single time I leave therapy, I get so upset. I get so angry. I get so, like, I just don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to be cry. I just feel horrible. And I know that's an emotion a lot of people don't want to do or deal with. And a lot of people want to hide those things with alcohol and drugs. And I hope that after listening to this, you know, I can inspire you to put those things down, because it's only temporary. The fix for that is only temporary, because that's why you have to keep getting it again and again. And then eventually you build up a tolerance. And then it's just like, okay, I need more. Then you don't even realize or recognize that it's becoming an addiction. And a lot of people go down that path. But unfortunately, some people are not ready to change. They don't want to, or they will go their whole life without changing because they're comfortable in what they're in. A lot of us are used to chaos. So sometimes to the naked eye, you're like, what is wrong? Why would you want to stay there? It's very comfortable when you know that everything's going to be chaotic. It's scarier to think, what is peace? What is this quietness I hear? Like, what is this calmness? I don't like it. I need craziness. I need this. And this is something I've been working, definitely gotten a lot better with not attracting and not bringing myself back to, is chaoticness. Because then you get that high, you get that, oh, adrenaline rush, and then that fades away. Then what? Now you feel hurt again. Now you feel sad again. Now you feel broken again. So definitely working on letting people go. That's the moral of, you know, the last few is people's closeness to you can change. Just because someone doesn't want to grow doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, F you and all this. Especially me on a spiritual journey, God wouldn't want you to do that, right? And then also, who are you to judge someone who's in pain? Hear me right when I say this. I'm not saying you allow someone to walk all over you or treat you like crap or disrespect you, but who are you to thoroughly judge someone when you've done things that are not right, which God has forgiven you? That's how I look at it. And I just look at it as people are broken. It's sad, it's hurtful, you can get emotional about it, but some people are just broken. Just because someone's closeness to you has to change because you need to heal and grow doesn't mean you have to be rude or anything. Sometimes you just, like, say it's friends, you just don't hang out with them as much. You don't go to clubs anymore. You don't do things that, you know, you don't want to do that doesn't align with who you want to become. Say it's parents. Sometimes you can't go to your parents for every single thing they want you to do because sometimes they want you to do toxic, negative things and you're just not in that place of life anymore. So it's just picking and choosing, honestly, where you show up and how much you show up with these people. And, you know, always being there for them still. You don't have to not be there. You just need to find a healthy balance. Sometimes the scariest things you have to do aren't so scary and you can actually do it. This is stepping out on faith on things. Even if it doesn't go the way you want it to, you feel a sense of relief when you do something you were scared to do and you realize it wasn't that scary. Coming from an anxious girly, because never love someone more than you love yourself if it will allow you to be okay with mistreatment, disrespect, and everything under the sun. Okay, no man, no woman, no parent, nobody should be your idol. I'm spiritual, like I believe in God, so that's where I'm coming from. No person should be your idol except for God, because when you put a person on a pedestal, you putting that person up as God. Like everything bow down to them. That's not even a relationship. Like that's not even a healthy relationship between a partner, parents, whoever. That's idolization, and that's where you start to, oh, I deserve everything they're doing to me. I have to do everything they want me to do, and that's not true. But if you love yourself, you will not stand for none of that. And I'm glad to be on this journey, because when I tell you right now, this is how you know you love yourself. I would rather be single for the rest of my life, okay, than to be with someone who is going to disturb my peace that I have by myself. I will be crazy moving forward because I've been a little crazy. I've been a little stupid. I've been a little dumb for some. Okay, but moving forward, I would be crazy if I allowed someone to come in my life and take from me what I give to myself, and you're not even added to it, and you taking away what I give. No, you have to be okay with being alone. Okay, as an introvert, it is easier said than done. Okay, but you got to be okay with that, because if you're not, you will be desperate to be with somebody and deal with whatever when you don't have to do that. You got to learn to love yourself and be okay with being by yourself, because if you don't want to be by yourself, you don't love yourself, why would somebody else love you? Why would someone else want to be around you if you don't want to be around yourself, by yourself? And also, your value does not come in if someone loves you or not, or treat you away, because people treat you how they feel about yourself. If someone hates themselves, they're going to treat you with hatred because they don't know love. If you hate yourself, you can't love nothing else. That doesn't make sense. So don't look at it as if someone is treating me bad, I'm valueless. No, you're just in the wrong place, okay, with the wrong person, and you need to remove yourself. Yo, this is one, as someone who grew up sheltered, overprotected, did not have a say in their life at all. Understand that you have free will and you're actually able to do anything you want. Mind-blowing to someone who's been controlled majority of their life. And me and my therapist was talking about it, and it's just a simple idea of, like, say if I'm at work and I just want to leave, I can leave. What are you gonna whoop me? What are you gonna do? fire me, okay. To me, I'm just like, whoa. When you think of it like that, like, I could do what I want. If you want to go outside, run naked, you could do that. You probably get arrested, okay, because they made up all these laws and stuff. But in all reality, you can do whatever you want. Take that with a grain of salt. Don't go running outside naked. Don't go quitting your job, okay? But just use that in the idea of like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you could be who is stopping you? Because nobody in your family was one? That doesn't make sense. You're going to be the first. You don't have to follow suit behind other people. You can be a leader and be the first in your family to break generational curses, okay? Accountability for, I'm more of a accountability type of girl, so I'm not like, oh, you didn't do nothing wrong. I probably believe you did something, okay? So just take it like that, because I am really like accountable, like self-aware, like tell me something so I can know about myself type of thing. So I put take accountability for your ish and forgive others that hurt you and have compassion for those, but free yourself from that anger, grief, confusion, even if you get no closure. So I'm saying this based on the relationship I was in. I'm be honest, I just took my accountability for where I went wrong. I understand why the person is the way they are without them having to tell me, because I go to therapy and I'm just someone who's into like psychological, sociology, stuff like that. And then also I got a God, okay? I know the spiritual things, spiritual warfares. People are dealing with a whole bunch of trauma, demonic things, lust, all these other things. It's very hard for me to hate someone who I know is suffering on the inside, okay? And I look at it that way because of how I was able to build up my mental, and I pray on things and stuff like that. But also knowing that in all situations when it comes to parents, because I already know the struggle with parents, I know everything pretty much, relationship, parents, family, you're not going to understand. You're not going to get closure most likely from a lot of people. And you have to be okay with that, because imagine going to somebody, or if you have and you're like, oh, I want closure. You probably still feel like shit after they gave you the closure that you thought you wanted, because they can't give you something they can't give themselves. They don't even know why, okay? So you have to find that closure within yourself and that peace within yourself, because it's not going to come from an outside source. Next, forgiving past mistakes and looking at situations when thinking of your decisions with perspective of who you were at that time and not who you are now. Forgive to set yourself free and give yourself the permission to do so. This was a mouthful, but I constantly used to get so angry at myself, my 18-year-old self or 17-year-old self, 15, whatever, for things I know at 23. How silly does that sound? That's like a baby being 6 and getting mad at themselves when they were 2, when they peed on themselves, when they weren't potty trained. You gotta stop going in the past with your current present self and saying, oh, why you didn't do better? She didn't know better. He didn't know better. So now that you know better, what do they say? You know better, you do better. So moving forward, now you could be like, why would you do that? You knew that. You could do a little something like that. Still don't be mean to yourself. But when you look back at child versions of you, especially when a lot of us are, especially when you're dealing with like abuse and things like that, please don't look at yourself and say, how could you let this happen? Things like that is not in your control. Like I said before, people treat you how they feel about themselves. You can not beat yourself up for staying somewhere, being with someone you didn't know was a certain way, or staying with someone through abuse or something like that, because it messes with your mental. It literally rewires the wires in your brain to think things like that are okay, or that you need those people. So don't be hard on yourself for things that you know now, and forgive yourself for the things that you put up with or the things you felt were necessary, because you could have been broken and abused and all those other things in the past, and now you're free and you're, you know, evolving and growing. Don't blame her for being weak. She was going through things. That's not fair to her or him or whoever, the old version of yourself. Just carry her like the baby situation, like the inner child. That's any past version of you, just look at it as a baby version of yourself. You're growing. You're not that person no more. Forgive to let go. Learning to accept people for who they are is a part of the healing process in growing. Believe someone the first time. If someone is broken, you can't love them properly or love them out of their brokenness. You can't battle someone's childhood traumas. When I seen that quote somewhere, and I don't remember where, you are going up against people's childhood traumas. I'm gonna need you to take a seat, okay? Because I wish, like, let's put myself in the chair. Let's put a very young Zylia, you know, growing up in a very traumatic, you know, toxic household. We had our ups and downs. We had a lot of screaming, arguing, everyone chaotic. And then let's say someone comes around and they're like, oh, I can help you. I can love you out of that pain. I'm not worried about that. And this is like, in a blunt way, you can't, okay? My brain is thinking of stuff that you don't even know, okay? And this is not to be rude, but this is like perspective. Because if you're in a place where you're not free, you're in a place where your mental is stuck on what someone did to you 12 years ago or what you went through 12 years ago as a child with your parents, no person can just come in and be like, oh, I'll heal you. You got beef with your parent, okay? This person, also, if you're on the other end and you know you're the person with the trauma, let these people, do not look for relationships right now, okay? Because what you're gonna do is try to find happiness within someone, and you're gonna try to get someone to love you like your parents should have loved you. And something that I'm understanding about this life is a lot of people are in search for a parent's love that was never given to them, and that's why we have so many toxic relationships, traumatic relationships, because you're looking for a parent's love within a romantic partner, and that's not going to work. You need to focus on healing yourself, that relationship with your parents. That doesn't mean you have to talk to them or, you know, you want to forgive them, but you don't have to talk to them and be like, I forgive you. But there's a whole lot of things within that, but just know you can't fight someone's childhood traumas. Imagine holding a cactus for 10 years straight. You think you come in because you're a rose, like, and you're a pretty rose, and you're just like, hey, I can help you. It's like, they're not worried about that. And it's so sad because sometimes people lose the best things in their life, but they're not at a place where they can accept that. And you got to be okay with them showing you that, because you can't change that out of them. They have to change it they have to want that change for themselves. And I don't think it means they hate you or anything, or you should hate them. I think you should just look at it like, you know, they're just not at a place where they're ready for this. And sometimes people could come around, but sometimes you just gotta let them go and love them from a distance, unfortunately. And this is all, wait, how do you say it? This is all easier said than done, trust me. Your haters really don't care about you as much as you think. People are more selfish than you think. And if they're a hater, that's them, and you're not the only one they hate on, okay? Don't give that energy. What you give energy will grow. Hating them requires more energy than forgiving them. Not everything is about you. This is our friend called the ego, okay? This was, you know, I was just jotting down ideas. What I was getting at is that usually when people are haters, they hate themselves. And that's not to be rude, that's to be real. You like, when I use it like in perspectives, like when people are like, oh, she hates me because her man wants me, da da da. When you think like that, there's something wrong. There's something wrong up there. There's a lot of insecurities, yeah. And you're probably not the only one who she's saying this about, or he. And then some of these are personal, so. But yeah. When people are hating, that is very low vibrational, and to match their energy and fight with them, it's not worth it. And trust me from experience, it is not worth it. If you have morals, if you have integrity, if you carry yourself, if you don't get out of character like that, don't do that for someone who does not care about losing things in their life, who doesn't have anything going for their life, because that's literally, that's like fighting. I don't want to say that. I feel like that's rude. I don't want to say it like that. But just don't. Oh, these are personal. Don't step out of character for people who have nothing going for themselves or are nowhere close to the level that you are on. Keep your head up high and don't allow people to make you feel like shit, okay? No human being should be making you feel like, oh, you're worthless, okay? Especially one who hates themselves and is projecting. Or someone who is just projecting their negative energies onto you because that makes them feel good. Imagine having to belittle people and beat people down to feel better about yourself. That has to be a very sad mental, and like I said before, sometimes you just gotta understand people are messed up and walk away, okay? When you feel life has broken you down, thank it, because now you get to rebuild, but bigger and better this time. So when you're like, oh my God, everything is falling apart, good. Restart, rebrand, reinvent, let's level it up this time. And I feel like I had to experience that, and I feel grateful now that things fell apart, because I am prospering and moving in a direction I knew could happen, but I didn't fully believe would happen. You see what I'm saying? Allow God to guide your life, and everything happens on God's timing. Who are we to think we are behind when it may just not be the plan God had for us? Don't go into prayer with the answer you want to hear. Don't go praying, oh, hey God, can you get my boyfriend to act right? No, how about you say God, the infamous prayer, the infamous one. Remove anybody who you, yo, that one that be on TikTok, they be like, when you pray that prayer and the next day your boyfriend literally break up with you, let it be, okay? I officially only want what God has for me, so if God rejects something, blocks something, please do. Because I don't have no more time to waste. I feel like I've wasted enough time. I'm about to be 24. I have so many plans and things that I want to do. I don't have time for the bullshit. I know I'm gonna still run into stuff, but I'm not gonna rush things or really get angry. Like, I got a rejection today for something. I'm not crying. I'm not upset. I'm relieved because I got the answer. Like, I just wanted the answer. But now I'm just like, I know he about to come and do something crazy, because it could only be for a reason that he blocked this. It could only be for one reason. He gonna do it up even bigger, more unimaginable than I could think. Live in the way of the person you want to become, not the person you currently are. And with this, I want to do routines on my channel, so let me know if you want to see that, because your girl is reinventing and rebranding her life. But something simple just to get to this point. When you don't feel like doing something, think about 10 years from now. Does that girl feel like doing it? Get your butt up. But also, on the side, Mel Robbins has this like thingy thing. Y'all gotta look it up. It's like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you have a thought, you get up at the 1. It's like scientifically proven that it helps. But it's to help with like procrastination, laziness. You be like, say you're like, oh, I don't feel like brushing my teeth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. Boom. That's it. No hesitation, no nothing. You have an idea, quick decision making. Because I heard that not having good decision making is a bad thing. I don't know the theory behind it, but I know it doesn't help with, especially the idea of getting rich. Something around that. Give yourself grace, be kind to yourself, and practice self-love, because you set the standard to how you expect to be treated. Forgive yourself and be kind to yourself. Don't parent yourself the way your parents did. So if your parents belittled you, degraded you, or did not raise you at all, you don't want to repeat the cycle. We get into something where we repeat the cycle, even if it's toxic. Like I said before, you will do something familiar even if it's hurting you. So you have to break the cycle. Be kinder to yourself, be nicer to yourself, and set the standard. Let's say if you respect yourself, you're not gonna be with a man who don't respect you. How about that? That's very simple and very straightforward. Your aura and energy is everything. People know by your energy how you carry yourself. So work on that, because I promise you, if you carry yourself like a boss, like a queen, someone who knows that they're just a player or something, they're gonna try you, but they're not gonna get past. Most of them will walk away because they don't want to deal with that. Like, they know they're not gonna get past you. Some may get themselves in, but as long as you have your standards, they can't get past a certain point with you. And you just gotta have that aura energy, because guys, for sure, I'm pretty sure girls too, they could read energies. They know. They be knowing who to mess with. They be knowing when you traumatized, when you low vibrational, when your self-esteem is low. They definitely know. Because a lot of them are just picking up what they already feel within themselves, but that's another conversation for another day. You are strong, but even a strong person still needs a shoulder to cry on. You see how I'm eye contact? Highly recommend therapy. As a Black woman, we often can feel like, oh, we could do it alone, but it's okay to ask for help and to cry and to feel emotions. I was literally crying earlier, and I was starting to cry at the beginning of this, and I'm over here like, girl, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry because I'm missing my makeup. But I also have this thing where I feel like I don't be wanting to show that I have emotions and I'm sad and stuff. So I'm working on that. But crying is so helpful. Like, letting that shit out is beyond helpful. Going to therapy is one of my highest recommendations if I have anybody around me. Talk to anyone. I've learned not to force it on people, but to highly recommend it, especially if you're coming to me with issues that I know I personally can't solve or don't have the capacity to deal with, because your girl's going through it too. And also having boundaries with people when they're going through it, and not trauma dumping all the time. Don't compare yourself to social media or others' advice and how they feel you should live your life. That's an opinion. I felt I was going through the wrong things based on what other people said were the right things. Don't take advice from someone's life you wouldn't want to live. I've struggled so long with making my own decisions. I would call everybody up like, should I do this or this? And then when I would want to do something and they said I should do a different thing, I would do what they said because I feel like I should follow what someone tells me to do. Given I was sheltered, given I'm healing from that type of thing, and then also a extreme people pleaser. We're getting out of it, but definitely like, oh my God, if I don't pick what they said I should do in my life, they're gonna hate me. And if they're gonna hate me over that, I don't think that's a good person to be around. Like, hate is crazy. Some people just feel entitled to your life. Some people want to live their life through you. You can't allow that, especially with parents. You have to separate yourself from your parents, but that's another story for another day. Knowledge is power. Strengthening your mental will provide peace even in chaotic environments. Watch podcasts and read books. Start your financial literacy journey early, especially if you aren't able to learn from your parents. Surround yourself with positive things and be in rooms with people you can learn from. Okay? When I said the knowledge, what did I say? How I say it? Strengthening your mental will provide peace in chaotic environments, because I know a lot of people can't get out of toxic environments because they're young or just in general. But when you're feeding yourself the positivity and the knowledge that you need, it will help you to be at peace even when you're in a toxic environment or a chaotic environment. Because I just know a lot of people are not able to just get up and get away from it. So strengthen yourself, because the peace comes from within. Everyone else around you could be crazy, toxic, you could be in a mental institute. As long as you're sane, you will be good. Some men will absolutely play in your face and waste your time. Someone with nothing going for themselves has no problem taking that out on you and wanting you to be on a level. Someone who has nothing to lose don't care about you losing what you got, because half the time they jealous. When you think a man would not, he will do. And I mean an insecure boy or someone who has nothing going for themselves. Like I said, I'm not like, oh, I hate men, all men are the same, but there are a lot of men who are, not good people. I'm gonna leave it at that, because yeah. Take control of your life. When something is threatening your peace, leave it alone. I don't know why my nose started getting mad, like congested feeling, but when something is threatening your peace, leave it alone. You can choose to reject or believe a thought. You don't have to believe every thought that comes to your head. And don't put trust in another human being. Have everything you want someone else to give within yourself. So there's two things. I seen this thing on Love and Hip Hop, this little TikTok thing, where it was like this lady was screaming at, I guess, her husband. I don't really watch that. She was like, if you're not going to treat me right, then leave me. No. You leave. Okay? Because why are you putting that power in someone else's hands? And why are you willingly, openly being with someone who is mistreating you and telling them to have the strength to leave? They don't want to leave. They're cool. Like I said, some people are comfortable, even if they're being disrespectful. I was gonna say something else not nice, but even if they're being bums, okay? Just because you have a thought doesn't mean you have to believe it. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle. If you get a thought saying you're ugly, that doesn't mean you're ugly. Your brain just says things, okay? I don't know why. I don't understand it. We just here. We just out here, okay? You don't have to believe it. Like, literally be like, yes, no in my brain. Am I ugly? No. Move on. I used to do this. I used to dwell like, oh my God, I'm so ugly. Oh my God, like this. Because I already did not have that self-confidence and self-esteem. So it just helped, And those could be thoughts from the devil, like negative thoughts sent to break you down. You don't have to believe every thought. It's literally like if you go outside and you say it's cold. It's just cold. That's it. Nothing to it. It doesn't have to be this big, like, oh my God, I'm getting sick because it's cold. No, it's just cold. That's it. Relax. That's it. Make a list of what you want in a husband or friends or whoever you're around, and make sure you have that within yourself first. And that's something I'm working on right now, because I don't need my husband yet, because I ain't ready for him. How about that? You have to be okay with not being ready for situations, and don't ask someone else for something you can't give yourself or give them in return. Definitely don't compare yourself to social media, for real. And as someone who does content, y'all don't know everything, okay? I'm telling you from firsthand. You literally edit your videos, so you know what you're putting out, and you can manipulate footage to say something else. You could write words on the screen. You can do a lot. Don't compare yourself to what you see on the internet, because that's just people putting out their best foot forward. And it sounds like the most cliche advice, but as someone who used to do this and compare myself to people and how they had all this stuff going on, You don't know what they did to get there. They could have stepped on every person in their life to get there, and they about to crumble because God sees everything and you don't even know that, but you're too busy like, oh, how come they get this type of life and this and that? Y'all see what's going on in the world, don't y'all? Like, everything is not what it's made to be. And something else I was having a conversation with someone is, I feel like comparison and jealousy really comes from not knowing your purpose in life. So I feel like that should be your main goal, because if you have purpose, you don't look at someone else's purpose or their accomplishments and say, oh, I wish that was me, because you know you're on a different path and you know you have your own mission in life. So that's something where I know it's not easy to find your purpose, but definitely, you know, make that your first goal instead of getting upset when someone else has something and you want something similar. Stop having expectations for things in life and people in general. It actually causes unnecessary stress and resentment. You came up with this expectation, not them or a situation. And I feel like I did this a lot, especially within my past relationship. And I feel like it also comes from it happening to you as a kid. Like, I was an overachiever, and I was just always like, oh, you could do better, you could do better, you could do better, you could do better. So I have this like negative mindset around doing your best, and I feel like I want everyone around me to do what I want, and the world just don't revolve around me. You know, in real life, you know, you couldn't be the main character, but like in reality, people not living up to your expectation and you getting mad, that's not for them to live up to. And if you feel like they're just not doing it at all, that's when you have to leave the situation or walk away. Put the same energy you put into others into bettering yourself, your skincare routines, makeup routines, and healing. This is what has been making me glow, literally get my life, you know, back together. Is really focusing on who do I want to be, what do I want my life to look like, staying disciplined and motivated and doing the things that I say I want to do. And I feel like you gotta understand energy is real. So when you put energy into that man or energy into toxic situations, that's where you're gonna go. You don't care about what you look like, you don't care about how you come off to the world or anything. So put that same energy back into yourself and who you want to be. Leave those situations alone. It's really not worth it. Like, it's just so not worth it. Once you get to this point of like, oh, I only care about myself, you know, bettering myself at least, you just don't care about situations. You don't even care what nobody doing in your life, for real. Because why do you care about someone else? Enjoy. Oh my god, you guys are so close. Like, back up. Enjoy your single season and any season of your life. Enjoy the journey, because the destination or the finish line may not be as fun. Do it for the plot or the movie of your life. The journey may be more deserving than the end result. Well, what am I going to do when I reach it? Simply enjoy and then set a higher goal. Ask yourself a question and just answer with the first thought. We tend to put the emotions, traumas, etc. First thoughts are first, because our first thoughts are usually our purest thoughts. Like, the first thoughts that we have are the purest, and then we let emotions and all those other things get in the way. So this kind of goes back to the Mel Robbins 5 4 3 2 1. If I say, do I want to start this business? Yes. But if you let the time go by, it might be, oh, but what if no one supports me? Oh, what if my mom doesn't like it? Or what if my mom wants me to do this? You see how when you let it linger past like the first second, it's like now the trauma, now the emotions, everything gets pulled in. Start making decisions based off whatever the first thing your brain says, because that's what you really want to do. But you're starting to let outside factors determine what you really want to do. As someone who is single after being in a relationship for 6 years, I don't even know how, but enjoy your single season, because what I realized is I'm gonna be a wife, I'm gonna be a mom one day. I've heard, and I have a little sister and I have siblings, and I've been like a parentified child for a long time. My siblings are my kids too, but you know you barely have time for yourself when you're a parent and a wife. So I feel like I might as well enjoy right now while I have the peace of being alone. I can do what I want, I can go where I want. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, it doesn't have to be a sad thing to be single. So I would say change the narrative around it. You know, you're getting prepped for the next stage of your life, and once that stage comes, it ain't no going back. You know, God willing, it's no going back after that. The conversation about, I've had this thing where I will be like, I will self-sabotage because I'm like, what am I gonna do when I reach my goal? Mind you, I got monetized, right? I'm just like, now I'm like, I've been sitting there, like, it feels weird. Like, I feel like the rush and the journey of getting there was a little more exciting Of course it's exciting to be monetized, but sometimes you have to be appreciative of the journey, because that's the fun part. That's like getting through the obstacles, winning, seeing yourself grow and improve. Is the journey is better, because then the reward is just what you get. And sometimes the reward is simple peace. The reward can be something like materialistic. Then it's not like as exciting as, oh, I changed my life, like I've evolved, I've grew to get to this point. It's called something, I'm gonna put it on the screen if I remember. I was listening to a podcast and she talked about it. I'm like, I've never seen someone talk about it, because I felt like I would always self-sabotage to kind of make the journey longer, because I was scared of the outcome not being satisfying as much as the journey. But it's okay, because like I said, you get to the journey, what am I gonna do when I get there? Chill, relax, and then go higher, go bigger, like go big or go home. Having that mentality is very helpful. In honors of one of my favorite J. Cole songs, Love Yourself Girl or Nobody Will, go listen to that song if you haven't. You have to make the decision to create your life. Don't let life make you. Don't let outside factors, the environment, the world, people who you wouldn't want to change lives with, control your life. You have to make the decision to change your life. Not the choice, like, oh, I might tomorrow. No, today's the day. Like, that's how you have to be with yourself. Very stern. That's why I kind of talk the way I do, because I can't do like the nice talk and stuff. I need like this like hard talk, like tough love. You cannot change a lustful person. It's spiritual. Fight me if you want. That is a whole nother topic. I'm thinking about doing a video on getting over heartbreak and relationship advice, so I'm going to definitely go into it. But just know, lustful people probably have been through traumatic events that have made them this way. It's not your fault. When people step out and people have to be with multiple people, they are struggling. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, because we're gonna have the whole conversation. Don't let someone else be the main character in your movie of life, and you be the supporting character. Now that's a reason to be jealous, because you're putting someone else on the pedestal in the main character energy when it's your life. What are you doing? Let's say you were starred for the movie of your life, but now you have Brittany as the main character because you're so obsessed with what Brittany's doing. Get it together. Main character energy, do it for the plot, and this is your story. This is your book. Every time you turn a new age, that's the next chapter, that's the next season. So start looking at it like that, because it might change your perspective on things. You can be like, she not the main character, this is Zylia's story, this is Zylia's movie. Yeah. Learning expectations versus reality and setting boundaries will save your life. Okay? The expectation thing always got me. Okay? And in setting boundaries, people are going to be mad. People might not talk to you, but guess what? That's okay, because what are we learning? It's okay to be alone sometimes. We don't need to disrespect ourselves and have ourselves sad and depressed just to have people around who clearly don't respect us. So know when you're first changing a boundary, it might be a little push, because someone's like, oh, but you did this before, but you did. Give people grace, but if it's like, okay, you're dragging it, okay, you might have to leave them alone. That's how I look at it. I don't try to be like so strict, like, oh, because there's things that I still can't change to this day, or I have not, or it's just not, hasn't changed yet. So I can't be like, oh, if I set a boundary and they mess it up, then they're done. I mean, you can, but I feel like that's a bit extreme. Be who you are without thinking. The first thing that comes to mind, my example is I try to talk as real as I can. Like, I don't try to be as proper as I used to try. I don't try to be like how people would want me to talk. I got a little sass to it. That's just how I talk. There's nothing I can do about it. I've been performing my whole life, so this is me trying to be myself. And like I just said, don't perform. If I'm not excited, I'm just not gonna fake it. And a lot of people feel that way with me, because if I don't want to say hi to you or I don't know you, I'm not about to be jumping off the roofs. Okay, that's just I just rather be real. I just don't want to fake it, you know? Exhausting, faking it. And when you fake things your whole life, it's just like, you just don't want to do that no more. And you don't want to spend the rest of your life faking it just to make other people happy. You come first, honey. Next is learning to live in the present. I feel like, even though I am kind of over my last relationship, somewhat, I feel like looking back, I wish I lived more in the present, because at that time, there were times when we were good. There were times when clearly we've been together for so long. I feel like I was so worried about the past and the future that my anxiety was just taking over. And now looking back, it's like, dang, I didn't really get to enjoy those times, but it's over. Like, things come and go. That's a good way to look at it. So live in the present. Don't stress about the past or the future, and that's what creates anxiety. And I just listened to something that said anxiety is worrying about the future doesn't make sense because it's the unknown. You're going to be anxious. Of course you're going to be anxious if you're trying to know the unknown. That is like the recipe for anxiety. Like, it's not for you to know, it's for you to find out, it's for you to live through, it's for you to experience, not be prepared for every single thing. Go into things unprepared, go into things not knowing what's going to happen. Honestly, it's more fun like that. Like, am I gonna get this thing, or am I not gonna get this thing? Not, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, I need to get it, I need to do it. Just relax, meditate, pray. Y'all don't understand. I'm so different. Even for me to even be giving y'all this advice, it's so weird for me. Because a year ago, I would have been crying, okay? Doing the same thing y'all are doing. I'm just here to help. I need help. I do need help though. Making decisions without asking others. We kind of talked about that. All the careers you want in this life. We only have one life to live, okay? If you are multifaceted, if you want to have 5 businesses, if you want to do 100 businesses, do whatever you want, especially when it comes to careers and things like that. You don't have to stay stuck in one. And if y'all don't know, I used to do hair. That was my main gig, like, since high school. Didn't want to do that no more. I have a story time on it. I sold clothes during the pandemic. I tried to do like digital marketing. I've tried to do like logos and stuff. I've done things I can't remember, okay? I've done majority of trying everything, and I appreciate that about myself, because it's like I was less anxious when I would have like, oh, I want to do something, I would get it done, and then the anxiety will come later. So I know that if I have a vision, I'm gonna get it done. Like right now, if you go back to my vlogs in the first episode, I was talking about, oh, we're gonna be monetized by my birthday, and we are. And we are, because that just proves to me that I can stay committed to something, I can stay dedicated to something, and I have the will and the strength to push through all obstacles, because it was not easy. I've posted every single Sunday since, I'm gonna say 7 months. Who's doing that? Release shame. And I'm gonna give you guys the exact quote that I was listening to, like a sermon by Sarah Jakes Roberts, and she said, shame is a mind game and it penalizes you for something you did. God is more interested in why you did it and not what you did to prevent it from happening again. Shame is insurance. You will stay low. Someone who has lived with a lot of shame, it is a very low vibrational place. And it kind of goes into what I was saying earlier about shaming yourself for things you didn't know in the past, but getting mad at yourself because you know it now. It'll just keep you in this negative place that you don't need to be in. And learning to release that may require therapy. And also, if you don't know, a lot of therapies do take insurance, so please look into that, because they don't try to tell us that, okay? Every session I go to is paid by my insurance once a week. So majority of them do, or you know, they have like other services you could try. But yeah, I highly recommend therapy a lot to everyone I talk to, because I just want everyone to be the best version of themselves. And this has got me in trouble, but I'm learning boundaries now. And then the last one, because this is so long probably, I love y'all if y'all stay to the end. I promise y'all it was gonna be worth it, okay? The burnt toast theory. If things are just not working out, trust and believe you may be being saved or protected from something, okay? And the real last one is, can someone change? I believe so. Is it going to be on your time? Absolutely not. Is it on God's time? Yes. So with that being said, don't depend on someone to change, but also let them live their life and figure it out by themselves, because who are you to rush that process? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you were new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please comment down some more advice down below, or anything that helped you in this video. And your girl's about to be 24, so tomorrow I'm about to be 24, and I'm just ready to level up and grow. And hopefully you guys subscribe and tune into the vlogs. But I will see y'all in my next video on Sunday, which will be like my birthday vlog. And if you guys have not, you can start from episode 1 of my Black Girl Introvert Diaries, and we just elevated from here. And I really hope this video was helpful. I really pray that it was helpful for somebody and it changes somebody's life.